was supposed to be the party of the decade, Kris Jenner's 70th birthday bash. Picture this. Glitter raining down like confetti, champagne towers stacked higher than a Kardashian's ego, and the entire Hollywood elite shimmering beneath golden chandeliers. The theme? Pure James Bond glamour. Every sequin sparkled, every gown screamed old money luxury, and every single A-lister knew they were there to worship the queen of fame herself, Kris Jenner. But then, out of the Montecito mist, they appeared, Harry and Meghan, the spare, and the self-crowned Duchess of Delusion. They strutted into that A-list scene like a Netflix crossover episode no one ever asked for. The moment they entered, the air changed. You could literally feel the confusion ripple through the crowd. Faces turned, polite smiles froze, and people whispered, "Wait, who invited them?" Cameras clicked, but not for them. Flashbulbs flickered, but no one aimed their lens their way. For a couple who claim to hate the spotlight, they sure seem to have a GPS that led straight into it. Meghan led the way, chin high, that trademark I still matter walk, radiating what she probably thought was Duchess energy, though Hollywood had long moved on. Harry trailed behind her, red-faced and awkward, smiling like a man whose Wi-Fi connection to reality was flickering on and off. This wasn't Buckingham Palace anymore. No royal protocol, no curtsies, no guards, just influencers, moguls, and Kris, Jenner's billion-dollar network of fame. And there they were, two ex-royals trying to convince the world they belonged. Meghan's every move screamed desperation masked as confidence. The head tilt, the hair flick, that over-practiced laugh that begged for someone important to notice. She laughed a little too loud, smiled a little too long. You could almost hear her inner monologue, "Please, someone turn a camera my way." Meanwhile, poor Harry stood beside her, clutching his drink like it was emotional support in liquid form. His polite grin said it all. I left the palace for this, and then came the moment everyone noticed Kris Jenner's greeting. The ultimate PR queen herself floated toward them. That dazzling host, smile perfectly in place. Warm, friendly, but oh so measured. She kissed the air, posed for the flash, but kept a subtle, deliberate distance. Kris knew exactly what was happening. This was a photo op, not a friendship. And then the fashion moment that launched 1,000 whispers. Meghan, at a James Bond themed party, in a black turtleneck and a shiny polyester sarong skirt. Yes, while the room glittered with couture and sequins, Meghan looked like she'd come straight from a PTA meeting in Pasadena. Guests froze, glancing at each other with polite confusion. Even the chandeliers dimmed as if out of secondhand embarrassment. It wasn't rebellious. It wasn't minimalist. It was just off. Every camera that caught her outfit seemed to whisper, "What was she thinking?" And oh, the pose. The classic Meghan S pose. Shoulders back, chest out, hips angled, just so like she was auditioning for a reboot of America's Next Top Duchess. Her face was a cocktail of smugness and panic. You could see it in her eyes. She wanted to belong, but deep down, she knew the sparkle in that room wasn't hers anymore. Beside her, Harry looked utterly lost. His tie slightly askew, his ginger hair a little too messy, eyes glazed as if silently praying for an early exit. Every picture of him screamed, "I used to be someone." By this point, it was painfully obvious Meghan wasn't blending in. She was standing out, but not in the way she'd hoped. In a room full of Hollywood royalty, she had shown up like she missed the memo entirely. And the gossip started buzzing, quick glances, quiet whispers, the type of murmurs that spread faster than champagne bubbles. The night was supposed to be her glittering comeback, but instead, the glitter turned to dust, slipping right through her fingers. Now, let's talk about Prince Harry, our favorite lost royal in the land of silicone and sequins. You could spot him from across the ballroom, red-cheeked, clutching his drink, that awkward forced grin plastered on his face. He looked like a man realizing in real time that he didn't belong. Standing next to Kris Jenner, he resembled a toddler who'd gotten separated from the royal tour and ended up in Disneyland. Poor Harry looked one martini away from spilling every royal secret just to stay relevant. Meanwhile, Meghan worked the cameras like a woman on a mission, flashing that calculated smile, angling her body just right. He, on the other hand, looked like a man on probation, nodding, sweating, and praying not to mess up. And that poppy pin to his lapel? Oh, it said a lot. Not duty, not remembrance, it said guilt. You could almost hear the silent message. I remember where I came from. Because here's the thing, it wasn't just any weekend. It was Remembrance Weekend, one of the most solemn dates in the royal calendar. While Princess Anne was in Australia honoring veterans, Meghan and Harry were posing under disco lights at Kris Jenner's mansion. And guess who didn't wear a poppy? Yup, Meghan. Her excuse? Poppies aren't widely available in America. Oh, please. The Royal British Legion literally ships them worldwide. The issue wasn't availability, it was sincerity. The irony? Meghan has proudly worn poppies before, even while visiting U.S. Navy SEALs in San Diego. But this time, nothing. No symbol, no pin, no acknowledgement. Harry's lone poppy glowed like a scar of guilt beside her. Empty lapel. It was the perfect symbolism, duty versus delusion, remembrance versus reinvention. While the royal family stood in quiet dignity, Meghan and Harry were clinking glasses with influencers under chandeliers. And then came the claw. If you followed Meghan's body language playbook, you know exactly what that means. That possessive, territorial hand placement she uses when she wants control. This time, her target was none other than Kris Jenner herself. As Kris posed gracefully in her elegant backless gown, Meghan swooped in, her hand landing right on Kris's bare back. Fingers spread, grip firm, smile tight. It wasn't affectionate, it was a statement. A silent, look, I belong here too. You could almost hear Kris's inner monologue. Smile for the cameras, but please don't touch the merchandise. That one photo, Meghan's hand on Kris's back, Kris's frozen smile, Harry hovering awkwardly in the background, captured the entire night in a single frame. Desperation wrapped in designer fabric. Kris, ever the professional, played along. But make no mistake, she saw right through it. She's built empires from fame. She can spot an opportunist from a mile and away. By the time the flash went off, Meghan had gotten what she wanted, the picture. But what she didn't realize was that photo would tell the real story. One of overreach, of trying too hard, of belonging nowhere. And then came the morning after. The photos exploded across social media. Meghan clutching Kris's back like she was holding on to her last ounce of relevance. Harry smiling stiffly. Kim Kardashian posing politely but looking like she wanted to vanish. And then poof, gone. The pictures disappeared. Deleted. Vanished from Kris and Kim's feeds like the night had been erased from Hollywood memory. Fans noticed instantly. Wait, weren't those photos just there? One asked, did they seriously delete them? Another wrote, it didn't take a PR genius to figure out what had happened. Even the Kardashians' masters of image didn't want to be associated with that. Cringe fest. The Sussex brand had turned toxic, and Kris Jenner wasn't about to let her milestone birthday get dragged into it. Hollywood has short memories, but even shorter tolerance for bad PR. And when Kris Jenner decides your presence is a liability, that's the ultimate social exile. A few short years ago, Meghan was being curtsied to. Harry was walking behind the late queen, a symbol of service and honor. The world watched them wave from Buckingham Palace balconies, proud, regal, respected. Now, they're photobombing Kris Jenner's birthday party, hoping the camera pans their way. It's almost poetic, a fall from grace wrapped in sequins and filtered lighting. Once upon a time, they had purpose. Now, they have hashtags. Once they were revered. Now, they're tolerated. And the irony? This night was supposed to mark their Hollywood comeback, their we're still relevant moment. But instead, it turned into a masterclass in cringe, while across the ocean, the royal family carried on with dignity. Princess Anne in Australia, King Charles leading remembrance, tributes, no drama, no PR stunts, just quiet service. Meanwhile, Harry and Meghan were busy chasing clout under chandeliers. It wasn't just a contrast, it was symbolism. Legacy versus limelight. Service versus selfies. And the saddest part, Harry knew it. You could see it in his eyes, that distant, haunted look that whispered, I traded purpose for publicity. The internet didn't need to mock them. The photos did it for free. Meghan laser focused on cameras, Harry fading into the background, and Kim Kardashian stuck awkwardly in the middle of a royal mess she didn't sign up for. By the end of the night, it was clear Harry and Meghan weren't the stars. They were the spectacle. The couple everyone smiled at, then quietly cropped out. From waving on palace balconies to being the forgotten faces at a Hollywood party, the fall couldn't have been more cinematic. Once Meghan walked red carpets as the future Duchess of Sussex, now she's queuing for a selfie with Kim Kardashian. Once Harry stood beside his grandmother as a symbol of unity. Now he's just the +1 at Kris Jenner's bash, gripping a drink and hoping not to be edited out. And maybe that's the cruelest punchline of all. For two people who swore they didn't care about image, everything they do revolves around it. Every smile rehearsed, every pose calculated, every appearance another desperate attempt to remind the world we still matter. But Hollywood is a brutal mirror. It doesn't reflect who you were, only who you are now. And on that glittering night, surrounded by sequins, champagne, and indifference, the truth sparkled brighter than any diamond in the room. They weren't royalty anymore. They were the sideshow. As the night faded and the lights dimmed, the whispers didn't. Mouse. The moment Harry and Meghan slipped out, clutching each other's hands and forcing one last smile for the paparazzi, you could almost hear the collective sigh of relief inside. The real A-listers, the Jenners, the Kardashians, the Clooneys, and every Hollywood titan in that golden room went right back to laughing, mingling, and pretending that awkward royal cameo never happened. But outside, under the cold Montecito sky, reality hit hard. Meghan's smile flickered, Harry's shoulders slumped. For all the glitz and glam they chased, they were still outsiders, not royals, not Hollywood, just two people floating between worlds, belonging to neither. And that's the tragedy of it, isn't it? Fame can buy a seat at the table, but it can't buy belonging. Meghan wanted validation, Harry wanted peace, but instead, they got the cruelest lesson of all. In Hollywood, relevance is rented, not owned. That night, as the cameras turned away and the headlines faded, the truth lingered in the silence. The royal fairy tale had ended long ago, and no amount of champagne, sequins, or desperate smiles could bring it back.